Listener discretion is advised. We're warbling together.
Okay, you are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
You darn tootin'.
Oh, yeah. Also, if I fall off my chair on this video episode, it's because
you're so
it's a giant
wet.
piece of shit.
Oh, that.
So turned on.
It's because it's a giant piece of shit, and I've ordered a new one, but it hasn't arrived yet. And nuts and bolts are just like falling off of my chair.
Why do you have this chair?
It's old. I brought it from South Africa. It's a piece of shit. It was very cheap, and it's falling to pieces. And my new one hasn't arrived yet.
It's very cheap. It's a piece of shit, and yet you paid to have it shipped from South Africa.
No pay per item. We paid for like one giant container. A lot of shit fit in it.
You know, I think you should not swap the chair until the current chair explodes beneath you, and we should start taking bets on when it's going to happen.
No, literally, as I was setting up, I leaned too far to the right, and it just started to fall off, and then a bolt popped off, and then I like scrambled and got it and like screwed it back in underneath.
This is my lucky bolt. The doctor said if the flat side hadn't have hit me, it could have gone right through my head.
Right through my skull. Okay.
Who are you?
Oh,
It's
right.
a hot mess.
I'm a hot mess. My chair is falling apart. I'm Kenyan.
I'm also a hot mess, but I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda. I'm actually fine. I'm fine.
Your hair is on
gorgeous.
point
Oh my
right
God.
now.
Thank you so much. So today's the day after the inauguration, and yesterday, after making
Has it only been one day?
one day, I made Valentine's for approximately
Like
8
25
hours.
hours.
And then took a very hot bath and just washed that man right out of my hair.
Yes. That's why your hair looks so good.
It looks
Yeah.
so I deep cleansed and conditioned and then like didn't dry it so that it could air dry and then curled it today. So it's real shiny. It feels good.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
My new bathtub is finished as of yesterday, and I have given it 24 hours for the caulk to dry. So
so
tonight
cute.
is my night.
nice.
Yes.
Candles, Himalayan bath salts.
Oh.
Not be answering text messages.
No, leave the phone. Just bring in Animal Crossing and leave the phone in the other room.
Well, now, you know what I need now? One of those bath trays, like
Well.
what Bill made you.
I'll get Bill on it.
Yes.
I'll text him right now.
I'm very close to getting a Kindle again. I had like the first gen Kindle, but I want to
Yeah.
get like a Kindle now and just put it in a Ziploc bag and read it in the tub like the full grandma that I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I support
please.
that.
Send pics.
Okay. Well,
Now that everyone's caught up on our lives.
yeah. Now that we've gotten through the chit chat, we have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Elena Lathram.
Ooh, the Lathram of the party. Lathram.
Doesn't Lathram sound like some kind of tool or implement?
Sounds like a chemical or
Yeah.
like an element.
Any
Sounds
of the
to
above.
me like something to do with like a seesaw. What am I thinking of?
I don't know, but I could hear
Whatever.
in my mind's
A lever?
ear a doctor saying, Lathram, scalpel,
Yeah, Lathram.
suction,
Yeah, exactly, Lathram.
Lathram, scalpel.
So
Come with me if you want
A
to live.
Lathram has selected a forensic topic.
Mm-hmm.
Topic is forensic radiology.
Yeah, I have her email up too.
All right.
Do share.
Elena says that they work in radiology as an MRI technologist, and they have dived into the potential idea of doing forensic radiology. They sent a couple of articles about CT scans and MRIs, which we will get into it. But thank you to Elena, because their entire occupation is about this crazy science shit, which
Yeah.
y'all, I tried to come up with a cats and wigs analogy for this. I can't. I don't get it. I can't.
It's
know,
confusing.
Lightning like cats and wigs just doesn't strike twice.
It's true.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
used it where it was applicable, and there it shall remain.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I was ready for like fury.
No.
All right.
Also, I like sort of have a baseline like grasp of like radiology in the use of imaging and like x-rays and stuff. So I feel like I don't need quite as intense.
We understand what it is,
Right.
Right.
but not necessarily the ins and outs of how it works. And I think we're okay with that.
That's totally fine with me.
Yeah.
I will not lose sleep.
If there was an apocalypse, I wouldn't be able to create an x-ray machine from my knowledge.
No. But I could create a podcast.
I could talk about it to someone and be like, in my day.
I could explain it to an alien.
Okay, Grandma, let's get you home.
Yeah. All right. So I'm super excited about our wine crime pairing for this episode.
Why that is. Maybe
Amanda.
because
Can you
your face is on it.
Woo! There she is.
There
Already
she
opened
is.
mine.
Oh, this little beaut.
For the
We
listeners.
are drinking today the Gal's Red Blend.
Which we blended our damn selves.
We did. We have been doing this awesome partnership. I'm just like, if you're watching at home because you are a Patreon
She's
supporter,
fingering the
I'm
bottle.
fingering the bottom of the bottle and it just feels right. So I'm just not going to stop. Now I'm going to fist it. We developed this awesome partnership with a company called Blentique, and they're based out of California, and they have, you know, a winery, and they make beautiful, beautiful wine. And one of the cool things that you can do with their company, like a date night idea, since we're in day 4,000 of quarantine and not being able to go to the local pub, you can order a red wine blending kit. They'll deliver it to your house, and you can literally, like alone, me, or with a partner, someone lucky, can blend your own red wine. And it comes with like all these cool little tools, bells and whistles, this awesome booklet on what all the different varietals they include in their blend are, and just, you know, the science. And it's like a little wine chemistry set. It's so cool.
It's very cool.
Pipettes, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, pipettes, exactly.
Yeah,
and
there
beakers.
are beakers. Yeah.
And then you send your recipe to them and they will bottle it for you so that you can have this like commemorative, beautiful moment.
Unique wine.
Yeah. Or you can be like us and blend it and then sell it to the masses. And if you're curious about where to purchase this, you can actually navigate to the wine tab on our website, and it will take you to the landing page for Blentique. They handle all of the sales and shipping. Right now, we have available the red, which we are featuring right now. This
The
is
red
a
is
really,
favorite.
it's so good. We also have a rosé, which we actually sold out of, but there could potentially be a couple cases coming back. So stay tuned for that. I'm not guaranteeing it. We don't know if they have it, but we're trying. And we have the Chardonnay still available, which shockingly enough, we love it.
I actually love the Chardonnay.
Excellent Chardonnay.
It is excellent. It's not your grandmother's Chardonnay. It's not a butter bomb. Like, it's just so balanced, crisp, and clean. It's beautiful. But today we're drinking the red, which is a blend of Syrah, Grenache, obviously, and Merlot. And I'm gonna read you a little bit from the label because I can't stop fondling it.
I wrote it.
Yes, you did. This is fruit forward and jammy with a balanced dry finish. This red blend is the perfect wine to sip along with the gals, like right now. She clocks in at 14% ABV.
We were not fucking around.
Nope.
You're welcome.
Yup.
World.
Yeah, come on. And I mean, just get a load of that label. Thank you, Danielle, our incredible artist on the labels. It's just such a great bottle.
It's so good. I bought 2 cases of the red I love it so much. I want to get more. Zach was like, you need to slow your roll.
I don't need it. Ages well. I don't need to slow anything,
It's
Zach.
so
Suck on
good.
it, Zach.
So I already popped.
Zach.
I already popped
it,
mine.
Zach.
I'm drinking.
Great. Well, I'm about to pop mine with the use of Influencer Hands, a nice pop wine key from wineandcrimepodcast.bigcartel.com.
Influencer hands.
Influencer Hands, what an amazing pairing to open your wine and crime wine with a wine and crime wine key. The colors all go together.
Full circle.
And we might be doing a Valentine's Day special.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Deets to come.
Yes. By the time this episode comes out, you should be able to go to our website for a little Valentine's Day discount on a bundled pack of the red and the Chardonnay, because once again, that rosé that sold like hotcakes.
White
So
and
we-
red make pink. Valentine's Day.
I mean, I love where your brain's at. All right, shall we pop?
Let's pop.
This is how we do it. Okay, here we go.
Oh, that was a beautiful pop.
It was like so clear and pure.
And as
that
if I
pop.
couldn't brand enough, here I go into a Plan Ahead Salt You're Dead rocks glass, which has become my new favorite red wine glass.
I love that glass.
I use those glasses daily. I love them.
Influencer Hands.
Oh my God, so cute.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. We're pairing our red with Forensic Radiology.
Yes. It all circles back.
It makes more sense than most of our other pairing names.
That's
Why not?
super accurate. Tons. Okay, people.
Tons.
All right. Lucy, what is our background and probably not psych for Forensic Radiology?
Yeah. I actually have a little tiny bit of psych.
Oh,
We'll
psych.
get to it.
There is psych.
Huh?
Psych. Stoic.
No, actual horror and fear.
Oh,
It's
good.
amazing. So forensic radiology is a component of medical imaging. Not always medical. Well,
Sometimes
radio.
forensic.
That's like how it's known widely.
Yes.
Is in
a
that field.
Yes, but it's not limited to medical.
Anthropological.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Yeah. So it's basically x-rays. And that's my segment. Just kidding.
Special thanks.
Probably had them. Next.
But today we have much more sophisticated and specific terms for different radiological sciences, which includes things like MRIs, which stands for magnetic resonance imaging, CTs, which stands for computed tomography, and ultrasounds, shit like that. Anything.
Quick
you can-
anecdote.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Have you seen signs for like stand-up MRIs facilities, around?
Like
Have you seen-
pop-ups? What do you mean?
No,
Well-
like where you don't have to lay down on the creepy bed. Where you
Oh.
can
Yeah.
literally stand in the machine.
You can
Oh.
stand, and so people feel less claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And also, like, some people, physically can't fit inside those machines. So they have, like, this alternate way you can get an MRI. But they're called stand-up MRIs. And when Zach was younger, but, like, not a child, just, like, a younger adult, he definitely thought that it was, like, a comedy club. He didn't know what...
Stand up MRI.
And he was like, these are
No.
so popular. They're like everywhere. And they don't look fun.
Why is
I'm
everyone
ready to
so into
laugh.
stand up all of a sudden?
They don't have chicken tender baskets.
That's so good.
I think about it every time we
Yeah, that's a lot.
They
That's
don't
a
look
lot.
fun.
They don't look fun, but they're
These
everywhere.
are they're so popular. Amazing.
So
And in like
stupid.
random locations. Maybe the rent is really cheap. I don't get it.
This man is working on his PhD.
Uh-huh. And
Yep.
teaching America's children.
It's what we like
Well-
to call book smart.
Yeah, there it is.
He's such a goof. Okay.
I love it.
For forensic purposes, we can use radiology for things like detecting a bullet inside someone's body or even to conduct autopsies. More on that later. Turns out X-rays aren't just a thing in cartoons. It's a real thing, and the way that it was discovered is kind of fucked. So let's take it way back to November 8th, 1895. 1895.
Wow.
When a German engineer and physicist named Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, there's an umlaut over the O, so I think it's pronounced Röntgen,
Okay.
produced and detected electromagnetic radiation in a wavelength. Like I said, tried to come up with a cats and wigs analogy. It is well beyond my understanding. So in case anyone alive out there knows what the fuck is going on, I'm going to read something from Wikipedia. Is anybody smart out there? Okay. So I tightened it up a little bit with my own editorializing. In early November, he was fucking around with some vacuum tubes that had a thin aluminum window added to permit the cathode rays to exit the tube, but a cardboard covering was added to protect the aluminum from damage by the strong electrostatic field that produces the cathode rays. So he's got little tubes that he's like shooting different rays through.
Okay.
Röntgen knew that the cardboard covering prevented light from escaping, yet he observed that the invisible cathode rays caused a fluorescent effect on a small cardboard screen painted with barium platinocyanide. When it was placed,
doesn't sound good.
No.
Yeah.
When it
None
was-
of this sounds particularly healthy for Wilhelm.
oh no, and he did it over and over and over again.
Oh, good.
And involved his wife. We'll get to it. So he noticed the fluorescent effect when it was placed close to the aluminum window.
And he thought, I can make really unflattering lighting with this.
Think of how fucking creepy it would be, though, to be like messing with all these rays and then be like, wait, there's like a stippling of light on the far wall. What the fuck?
Yeah, I would think it was ghosts.
Yeah. And
Ghost
you'd do
scientists.
cocaine about it.
I was going to say, and considering how many people were just like hanging out and doing coke, better than the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 1880s.
Better.
The 1880s were way better than the
So it occurred to him that, so he's playing with different types of tubes. It occurred to him that a specific tube, which had a much thicker glass wall than the tube he'd been using, might also cause this fluorescent effect. So in the late afternoon of November 8th, Röntgen was determined to test his idea. He carefully constructed a black cardboard covering similar to the one he had used on the thinner tube. He covered the thicker tube with the cardboard and attached electrodes to a Ruhmkorff coil.
Rural juror.
A queef coil.
Yes,
Got
to
it.
generate an electrostatic charge. Before setting up the barium platinocyanide screen to test his idea, he darkened the room to test the opacity of his cardboard cover. I swear to Christ, I can read. All these words are just really
gonna
bizarre.
need a cats and wigs analogy after all. I thought I wouldn't. I do.
I'm just doing my.
So as he passed the coil charge through the tube, he determined that the cover was light tight, meaning light couldn't pass through, and turned to prepare the next step of the experiment. It was at this point that he noticed a faint shimmering from a bench a few feet away from the tube. So again, creepy ghost lights.
So, like, shit is passing through stuff where light can't pass through.
Right. Or where we didn't think it could.
Right.
Something is passing through the tube. He has determined that it isn't quote unquote light, but it's something. To be sure, he tried several more discharges and saw the same shimmering each time. Striking a match, he discovered the shimmering had come from the location of the barium platinocyanide screen he had been intending to use next. So it was a combination of his fucking around with the tubes with that piece of the barium, whatever the fuck, that he just had like on his desk, waiting to be used later.
Okay.
Somehow the rays were passing through both or bouncing off. Somehow they were
A
involved.
chemistry occurs.
A chemistry occurred, and then because of those two things, that's what created the ghost shimmers.
Okay.
So he speculated that a new kind of ray might be responsible, as we just... Duh. Because November 8th was a Friday, he took advantage of the weekend to repeat his experiments and made his first notes. In the following weeks, he ate and slept in his laboratory as he investigated many properties of the new rays that he had temporarily termed X-rays, using the mathematical designation X for something unknown.
Okay. I like that. That's kind of clever.
That's kind of why it sounds so
iPhone
cartoonish.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also something I couldn't explain. The new rays came to bear his name in many languages as Röntgen rays, and the associated X-ray radiograms as röntgenograms.
And
Is that
that's
why they
that
measure
name didn't stick.
radiation in like Röntgens or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that why the acclaimed musical Rent is so impactful?
Absolutely.
Yep.
That is why he won.
525,000.
It's actually about the discovery of X-rays.
I knew it. The X-rays epidemic
Oh, Jesus Christ.
and how that affects rent. Affects Ray's rent.
Seasons of blood. Okay. At one point, while he was investigating the ability of various materials to stop the rays, he brought a small piece of lead into position while a discharge was occurring, while a chemistry was occurring. He thus saw the first radiographic image, which was his own flickering, ghostly skeleton on the barium platinocyanide screen.
Okay, that
Imagine.
I know.
that would be
So fucking horrifying.
shocking.
Skeleton.
His own skeleton.
I
And
mean,
by accident, because he wasn't even at this point thinking like
He didn't.
that it could pass through his own body.
okay, that was my question because it's like it's less scary if you're experimenting with this technology expecting
No.
a similar result, but if
No.
you are
He
not
was still
at
in the
all
just fucking around phase.
in the look, this can shine through tinfoil phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
My
then he's like,
God.
oh, fuck. Speaking
My
of
skin-
talking
Sir!
about ghostly shimmers, it was
Sir,
his
your bones.
skeleton. Blech.
I would have shut it down.
No.
I would have never touched it ever again.
We're
This
getting
is why
close
we
to
can't
my
be
favorite part.
scientists. I wouldn't have pushed through that either. I'd be
No.
like, I have unlocked the gate to hell.
It's Pandora's Ray.
Y'all
honey.
motherfuckers need Jesus.
Please let me read this
We
next
will
part.
get to
We'll
it.
fucking
Lucy.
get to it.
Explodes.
Shut the fuck up.
I
We'll
would.
fucking get to it. God.
Let me tell you what I would do.
No, shut it down. Shut it
No.
down. This is too creepy.
No.
Shut it down.
No.
No. I can't. Okay. He later reported that it was at this point he decided to continue his experiments in secrecy, fearing for his professional reputation if his observations were in error. So if he wrote a paper like, I saw my skeleton on
Some
the
of
wall.
bones.
You're like, okay.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you
get
back
you to bed.
yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
About 6 weeks after his discovery, he took a picture, a radiograph, an X-ray, using X-rays of his wife Anna Bertha's hand. When she saw her skeleton, which there's a photo on the drive of this very first hand X-ray, she saw her skeleton and exclaimed, "I have seen my death."
I knew that. I knew that part. Look
Yeah.
at her ring too. So dope.
Well,
It's
okay,
massive.
there are two hands in here.
Oh.
So he later took a better
only
picture of
see
his
one.
friend Albert von Kuliker's hand at a
see that
public
hand.
lecture. So the darker, murkier one is his wife's hand. That was the very first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
I have seen my death.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that exclamation, and I'm going to use it all the time.
Well, that's why when
When
you guys were
any-
like, no, shut it down.
When anything surprises me ever anymore, I'm just going to
I have seen my
I've
death.
seen my death. A cat
Not
jumps
to
at
be
me.
melodramatic.
I've seen my death.
Using forensic radiology as evidence in a case must be accepted by the presiding judge. The first judge to do so was Judge Owen E. Lefebvre in 1896, so the next year.
Oh my God, that was quick.
Yeah, for a malpractice case in Denver. He established the precedent of admissibility that, quote, a skilled operator operating with adequate equipment under proper conditions had produced the particular image. So he was
Okay.
just like, yeah, they know what they're doing. Fuck it.
Cool.
Also, at that point, I feel like it would be hard to, like, fake something like that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's no Photoshop.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So, circling back to this autopsy thing, we can now use radiology to essentially see through skin, bone, and soft tissue to detect possible causes of death without relying on a fallible scalpel and the even more fallible human eye.
So why won't it go through bone? It just won't.
It will. I said we can use radiology to see through skin, bone, and soft tissue. It can see through all of it.
But then why does your skeleton show up?
I don't know.
It
That's
goes
another
through
cats
it-
and wigs thing.
It goes through it like slower or
Probably.
Well,
that
okay,
tracks.
so radiology and X-rays are two different things. They're radiology. Our technologies, when it comes to radiology, are so much more advanced. So we can use radiology to see through bone because there's different. You have like MRIs and CTs. They're all different types of scanning.
Sure.
No, I understand, but even his like first one of I have seen my own death. The
Yeah.
reason you see your own death is because you see the bones, but you don't see the skin and the muscles and stuff.
Right. So that specific type of ray is stopped at the bone.
Okay.
But now we have so many other types of radiological technology that
Right.
some
All under
can
that
see through
umbrella.
bone, some can see, it's just more advanced. So I think that
Specialized.
really basic, very, very basic X-ray does stop at the bone. But what we have now, we can see all sorts of shit.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. All of it.
Okay, so these kinds of autopsies are called vertopsies.
Like
Because-
virtual autopsy.
Yes, because no one is creative anymore.
I love that.
There is an image on the drive of a 50-year-old man who was run over by a train, and you
Grandpa
can see
got
his
run over by a train deer.
it's a severed spine. It's
Oh,
really intense.
sir, and the face.
Sir,
oh,
your
honey,
spine.
No.
Yeah.
You can see like across the face and across the spine where like the two
Like wheels.
train wheels hit.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't like it.
There is a team at the Institute of Forensic Medicine in Zurich that uses a robot called the Vertobot. Again, nobody is creative.
Give him a sexier name than that.
Vertobot.
like
Virgil the
notes.
Verto.
No notes.
The Virgin Vertobot.
So the Vertobot can carry out precise postmortem tissue sampling, which in tandem with the vertopsy allows for a much more objective autopsy. So it just takes out the human component entirely.
Oh, good. They took our jobs.
Well, they're probably doing a lot better job.
I don't care about the accuracy. I want the employment in the field I am so close to.
And the gore. It also preserves the body much better than a traditional autopsy, which can only be recorded with two-dimensional photographs. And to do a traditional autopsy, you have to cut open the body.
Right.
That's
and
true,
therefore
but that's the
change
fun
things.
part.
I know that's the fun part, but now we have
Taking
robots.
it all away.
And it also prevents pathologists from being directly exposed to bodily contaminants.
That's good.
That is a pause. Posy vibes.
yeah.
That is a pause.
So they can
That is a pause.
That I'm pausing for reflection on how positive that is.
that gives me pause.
Okay, so this is from a Guardian article. Quote, the idea
Salon
for
pause.
Salon.
apply directly to the forehead.
Head on.
Apply directly to the pause. Apply directly to the neg.
Oh my God. Okay.
The idea for vertopsy was born 10 years ago when Richard Dernhofer, the then director of the Institute of Forensic Medicine in Bern, began chewing over a high-profile case in Zurich that turned on whether a spanner had caused injuries to the skull of a murder victim.
What is a spanner?
It spans multitudes.
It's like a wrench.
Okay.
Since then, Dernhofer and Professor Michael Talley of the Institute of Forensic Medicine in Zurich have used 3D photogrammetry to match weapons and other objects such as car bumpers to fatal injuries sustained in several murder and accident cases, and it is a measure of how far the technology has come that the Vertopsy-style imaging was recently featured on the U.S. forensic medical drama show CSI. Ever heard of it?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Forensic Files, and I got really excited, and then you said CSI, and it got a little deflated. But I'll take it.
Sorry. Speaking of Forensic Files, I forgot about Cold Case Files, also narrated by Peter Thomas.
Oh, so good.
Saint Peter Thomas.
God rest his soul. You know what? I'm taking a sip for Peter Thomas.
You know what? Cheers
The
to
one
you.
person I really wish we could ever have on the show, and it's impossible.
I know.
Well, maybe he has like children with the same voice.
Maybe
Maybe he has a
Contact
little
us.
daughter with the same voice.
We love your dad.
Okay. But is it really possible to reconstruct crime scenes in 3D so as to leave no doubt as to who or what caused the fatal blow? And no matter how astounding the images from Vertopsies, can they ever be a substitute for hard physical evidence collected by more traditional methods? The answer to the second question, at least in Switzerland, would appear to be yes. 3D photogrammetry and surface scanning are already admitted in Swiss courts, and in uncontested cases where invasive postmortems risk offending cultural sensibilities, CT and MRI imaging are now often deemed sufficient.
So if they don't really need to, if it's uncontested, it's we probably know what happened.
It was
just
probably
making
a heart
suresies.
attack. Yeah, something like that. And in a lot
I
of
don't know why. Wow, you said that. It's probably a heart attack.
it was probably a heart
I
attack.
literally just coughed because that made me laugh.
That was the most neutral thing I've ever said.
It gave me pause.
Gave me negs. Okay. CT. In Manchester, England, coroners now routinely give families the option of an MRI scan to establish the cause of death. So at least in these areas, this is completely normal, completely acceptable.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this is how this kind of imaging works is actually really cool. So basically they do a CT scan of the body. They take up to 3,500 X-ray slices from head to toe, just boop, 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 all the way.
Slices.
Yeah, think of like Body Worlds.
Yeah, I saw that exhibit.
Slices of the body and they spread it all out.
Okay, that's
so cool.
amazing. I get it.
Then they use markers placed on the actual body, like the surface of the skin, to align all of those slices together to form a 3D image, complete with bones and organs.
Love it.
Then they add an MRI scan to the same image so that they can see the state of the soft tissue and whether there are injuries to the heart, brain, or abdominal organs. So kind of going back to this, Kenyon, I think that these different types of scans just go through different materials. It's because, for example, the X-ray slices, that can detect the bones and the organs, but not the heart, the brain, and a lot of your abdominal organs.
Not the soft tissues. Yeah.
Then they can use that Vertobot, Kenyon's new boyfriend, which is just a robotic arm that is maneuvered by a remote computer
I've had worse boyfriends.
than a robotic arm.
That's just Kenyon's vibrator that's stuck in her closet. Yeah. We're naming him Vertobot.
Vertobot, the immersion blender.
I have no idea where Vertobot is.
Find him.
Find it. Come
Free
back.
Vertobot.
Vertobot, no!
He's become self-aware.
He's become a sentient
He's
sex
hailing
toy.
a cab.
He's in an arm wrestling tournament.
Oh, I love him. He's handing out flyers for clubs
miss
in
him.
Vegas. Love him.
For stand-up MRIs.
Come to my show tonight. My stand-up.
He's doing
MRI
bringer
set.
shows at stand-up MRIs.
Here's a free
my
drink
fucking
ticket.
God. Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God. $1 off the cover. Okay.
Oh my God. Ladies' night.
Ladies night. Ladies night.
Oh, ladies drink free. My God.
Just vibrates down
all
the street.
the drinks are blended.
I'd like a martini, shaken, not stirred.
It's blended. Holy shit, that's good. When we open the bar Losers Weepers, we're having a
Vertobot.
Vertobot ladies night where everything is blended.
And we use vibrators as blenders.
1,000% we
I
do.
like it.
This bar is gonna take off.
Free massages.
Gator bites. Bucket of margs.
Oh, just a bucket of
That's on Tuesdays.
$1.99.
We have to go back to Florida.
We
and we
really
have to
do.
go back to that one bar.
We have to be able to travel again. Please wear masks.
I know. I'm so fucking bored.
I'm so bored.
Dying
Jesus.
inside. I'm making hundreds of Valentines for my mental health. The wall has been hit.
I'm so fucking bored.
I've
Please
passed
wear
through that
masks.
wall like the fucking Kool-Aid man.
Like an X-ray.
God.
I've
Okay.
seen my death.
Okay. So Kenyon's vibrator can use a biopsy needle at the exact location where the scans indicate a forensically relevant finding. So they can look at these fucking scans and be like, hey, there's a thumbtack right there. And they could go in and get it like
Take it out of your nose.
like one of those
Cool.
crane machines.
That's cool.
Vertobot, go.
So it can extract things like bullets or shrapnel that are easily detected by these vertopsy scans. Or I would imagine they could be like, wow, there's a cluster of cluster of hard tissue there. Let's get
There's
that out
some
of there.
fecal matter remaining in the anus. Let's
So-
get it. And we will get to it.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
I was like, that's a weird example. Okay.
I don't want to get to that.
I do.
Well, all right. I
Okay.
do too. You're right.
Let's wrap this up. Here's a continuing from that Guardian article. In addition, the Vertopsy team can perform CT angiography, which is a procedure that entails injecting a contrast agent into blood vessels with a needle in order to reveal leaks and lesions that can be overlooked using conventional autopsy methods. I think that's fucking cool.
That is cool.
They have their bases covered. Finally, the same 3D surfacing scanning can also be used on injury-causing instruments or even entire cars, enabling forensics experts to compare blows and bruising to a victim's body with, for instance, the shape of a car bumper or a hammer found at the crime scene.
Oh, okay.
So this was I have a few examples of cases where this technology was used. Kind of like I just mentioned, a hit and run, where a driver hit a cyclist. The driver claimed that the cyclist came up and the car hit them on the side. But actually, the car hit that person from behind. So it was used just the injuries on the body. They were able to compare like the shape of the car to the injuries on the body and say like, nope, you were lying. You were probably
you
texting
don't
and driving or
Get
whatever.
this
Yeah.
insurance money.
Yeah.
They can also use it for like drug trafficking. Really easy to find
Oh,
drugs
yeah.
in a
Coke inside
in
of a teddy
car.
bear.
Yeah,
car.
or in your body,
Or in
Oh,
a
yeah.
rectum.
in your asshole.
Where nature's
to the
pocket.
rectums.
This was a weird. Okay, it can also help to identify bodies like in mass casualties, such as the Australian bushfires. They helped. This helped to identify like 160 missing people.
Ugh.
And they could do it through the body bags, which I also found out are the real word for body bags is human remains pouch, HRP.
Like your kids' food pouches that you
Yeah,
keep
like
in the
a Capri
fridge.
Sun.
Yeah,
A human Capri Sun.
pouch is such a cute word until I read that.
It is. It's still cute.
I'm going to
It's
get
still
you one
cute.
for your birthday.
A pouch?
Don't you guys remember, speaking of Florida, remember when we
Yes.
were getting that, we got that Uber back from our night
That
out?
problematic Uber
Yes.
driver, but
And
he
I
had
sat
a
in the
lot
front.
of stories.
He had a lot of stories. He made body bags for dogs. That was
Yeah.
his business.
Yes.
So he and I were chatting the whole way back. I think I gave him my number.
Oh God.
Please interview him on SLB.
Oh.
No, he
Call him
was
up.
problematic. He had rings on every single finger,
Oh,
and he had
yeah,
that
he
long
was also
hair.
kind of MAGA, wasn't he?
Yeah. This is what happens.
He was
when-
definitely at the Capitol for the insurrection.
Yeah.
He's probably behind bars. This is what happens when none of us want to sit up front with the Uber and we consistently make Lucy do it.
Wait, what? Sorry, I was reading a text message.
We never want to sit up front with the Uber driver, so we usually make you do it. And then your weird superpower of, do you want me to get a photo of all of you together?
They're so friendly to
Triggers.
strangers.
And then next thing you know, you're getting the MAGA guy's digits because he makes body bags for dogs.
Honestly, I remind myself of the character in the Wine Country, that movie
Yes.
Wine Country, and at the very beginning, they took the Uber to the house, and that lady's
She's
up front.
giving
she's
him
like-
therapy.
Yeah, she's like, I hope your divorce goes well. And
She said, she says something like, I hope you can find another burial plot for your mom soon, or something like that. Like they got into
yeah.
it. Giving
It's so
advice
good.
about like family drama.
Yep.
I have to make up for how I really feel about humanity.
There it is.
And it's really easy for me to just be very friendly on the surface. And then when you get to know me, you realize I probably don't like you.
Yeah. That's fine.
People tell me their life stories, and I, in the moment, will be pleasant and kind. But I've learned over time to solicit less information.
Yeah.
Like my initial instinct would be to fully get into it.
Ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
They'll open it up to you without even needing to push.
Oh yeah.
You have one of those faces. So
I
does
know.
Corey.
People just
People confess things to him.
yes. Yep. All the time on airplanes, walking down the street, constantly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, just a couple more examples here. They can do 3D scans of footprints. So they can they got okay, well, this example was kind of atrocious. A guy got really savagely beaten up by some random guys on the street. And he had a bruise on his armpit he got kicked.
Oh.
So they were able to look at the bruise and do some sort of radiology imaging of the bruise and figure out the type and size of shoe
Oh
that
my
the person
God.
was wearing.
Like the
Wow.
Night Stalker.
It was
but
totally,
with
yeah.
radiology.
Wow.
In another case, a husband shot his wife in the back of the head, but there was no exit wound. And they were I think they opened her up with the traditional autopsy, couldn't find the bullet, and then used imaging to find that apparently the bullet, when it entered her brain, took a hard left and went down into her spinal column, her spinal canal.
It's so weird what can happen in there and how a bullet hitting just the right spot in the right way will ricochet it
With all
rather
that
than
velocity
It's
inside
bizarre.
your body.
Ugh.
Holy shit.
Here's the last one, and this is the most impressive one. So there's a case where a mechanic was killed when an engine block and scaffold fell on him and crushed his head. Really fucking crushed it. The whole car fell on his head.
Good God.
They were able to reconstruct the skull without disturbing the pattern of fracture lines. So they did all of this digitally. And they were able to, they didn't have to do this, but they could have if there was any doubt that this incident was a cover up for a murder, for example. Had there been blunt force trauma on that skull before the car fell on it, they would have been able to fucking figure that out.
Oh, okay.
That's wild.
That makes sense. That's crazy.
And thinking of trying to put together a skull that's busted into hundreds of pieces, that would be so time consuming. And if just one person sitting there with tweezers, you fuck up.
Right? It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. So this 3D imaging and forensic radiology is really fucking cool because it preserves all the evidence in a 3D model that you can share with other experts around the world. It's there forever. It's not just recorded evidence. When we look at cases like the Night Stalker and things like that, it's very frustrating us as viewers in the modern era to be like, God damn it, if only they had this kind of testing back then, or if only they
Right.
preserved this or that. It's like this it's really fucking cool.
Can see a lot.
Yeah. So
That's really interesting. I wish I had known all of that before trying to find my case because this was incredibly difficult to Google.
Yeah.
it actually took me a while to find really interesting facts about forensic radiology. Because when I first was Googling, I was like, cool, x-rays.
Yeah.
It's
Next.
very tough.
Next.
Very
Next
tough
raise.
to research this topic, although extremely interesting and used in probably more cases than you could ever imagine.
Oh, for sure. I'm
And,
sure
like-
it's used way more often than we're aware of. But when you Google it, it does seem to give you the same, like, few things over and over again.
Yeah.
So I also had to dig or get creative in how I was asking the question, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, it was tough.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well done.
Thanks.
Are we ready for my kiss?
Not usually.
So this is definitely light. We got a light one.
Wow,
Oh.
weird. Are you okay?
I was just distracted by the inauguration and just the wave of relief.
I was
And-
anticipating macabre sadness from you, so I picked one without any murder.
Oh, well, mine still has murder. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Then we're balanced.
That light.
Yeah.
People still die. Don't worry.
Probably a heart attack.
because I had so much trouble researching, I ended up going with a fan suggested case.
Ooh.
But then I realized that this dude that I cover was also mentioned in the Decameron, which I read at the start of the pandemic.
The James Decameron?
Yep. Plague in the Italian Peninsula.
Oh no. Oh.
You have the weirdest interests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decoy ducks.
I think I'm into duck decoys now.
I think I'm into duck decoys.
It happens. It's a slippery slope.
I saw one at the antique store I was at last weekend because I had to just get the fuck out of my house. I
Yeah.
almost got it for you, but it was like $80.
To take pictures of them and send them to my godfather to see if he wants them because
Oh.
he's like the world's premier expert on duck decoys.
He's published.
No big deal.
he's published.
Published. So
Okay.
don't
So-
talk to me about duck decoys because like
Because-
my godfather is published. So.
Okay. We're
You
going to
will
get
never
emails
have
from
that
people being
problem.
like, your godfather is fill in the blank. Okay. So,
There is one expert on duck decoys on this planet.
And it's my godfather,
Yes.
so
yes, sir.
he's published.
Okay. So, Con Grande the First della Scala. Ever heard
Gesundheit.
of him?
Ever heard of it?
Was born in Verona at the end of the 13th century.
Nachos con grande.
There are some photos on the drive if you want to look.
I always want to look. Sir.
The one with well, they both have red hats.
Nachos with big.
He's the one without the leaves.
Yeah.
Out the
He's,
leaves.
he's labeled.
Yeah,
Con grande.
labeled. Con
His
grande.
nose is con grande.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
sharp.
And con pointed. Yeah.
He has a real Roman nose.
And sad hair. He
was-
looks like someone I know. Oh my God, I have to take a picture of this.
Your husband, kind of?
No.
'Cause
I can't say it out loud, but he looks just like someone I know.
I see it.
He was your typical medieval nobleman. He loved hunting and hawking
Oh no.
when time allowed.
Like,
Yeah, I was going to say, wait. Birds,
Birds.
or hawking up
hunting
loogies?
with hawks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hawking at the plebes.
He was observant of religious fast days and well trained in the art of war, which plagued the Italian peninsula at this time.
Okay.
And seriously, I couldn't even keep up with the Wikipedia page. It's just like a fucking mess of like city-states
no.
and wars
Yeah.
and families
It's
and
none of-
alliances.
Yeah.
Never like Google Italy.
There's like
There's
there
too
were
much going on.
2 different popes. It's just fucking
Y'all have
crazy.
been through a lot.
Yeah.
When we did our Sicilian crimes episode, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jesus.
A lot. So he's involved in all this. By the time he turned 21, he had conquered several neighboring territories. Even his enemies seem to admire Congrande's bravery in battle.
Taco Con Grande.
Nachos con grande.
I'm so hungry. Not long after he became the leader of Vicenza, I don't know.
Sure.
Paduan
V-Town.
warlords tried to wrest control of this city away from him, and they invaded. So he gets control of this city, then he leaves, goes about his business, and then the neighboring warlords are like, fuck this guy, we're taking it back. They start to move on it.
Got it.
Congrande was away at the time, but as soon as he heard of the incursion, he mounted his war horse and rode out at top speed.
All right.
Arriving in under 3 hours and before the enemy had even penetrated the center of the city, Congrande stood in his stirrups and, quote, urged his followers to slay the cowardly foe before charging onwards, mace in hand, carrying all before him as fire fanned by the wind devours stubble.
Oh.
This
Okay.
sounds like an exaggeration.
Drama queen.
Yeah. Quing.
Quang. I don't know. I think he really was pretty strong and pretty good at battle.
I feel
Even
bad
though-
for his horse. 3 hours of running at top speed and
Yes.
then going into
And
battle.
then your
That'll
reward
kill a
is battle.
horse. Yeah. Meow.
All while
Horses, man.
carrying this guy who, like, while strong, like, not small.
He's thick.
He's
his
a thick
nose
boy.
alone.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of that's like a lot of body, nose, muscle, gear. He's probably in some
Armor,
sort of
sword.
armor. Yeah, he's carrying a weapon. That's a lot for a
Chainmail.
pony. Little Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Imagining him on Little Sebastian.
Poor little Sebastian.
One notable tidbit amidst all the war talk, Congrande was also a major patron of the arts, and he was a top-tier Patreon fan picker for poet Dante Alighieri.
Whoa! Did he get a free flexible wine glass?
Probably not.
Probably. And Dante wrote the Divine Comedy. You know, Dante. Pretty
Dante.
famous.
The
Dante.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Dante's Peak.
Yeah.
James Decameron.
Okay, back to war. So, over the next 16 years, Congrande's military campaigns and successes continued until in 1328 at just 37 years old. But back then, that was like retirement age.
I hope
Fair.
to be retired
That
at
was
37.
the life expectancy.
Yeah. He conquered Padua and was readying to take over nearby Mantua, which is where Romeo is exiled in Romeo and Juliet. Remember? Ringing a
Yeah.
bell?
The only reason
In
that rings
Fair
a bell is because
Verona,
of 10
blah, blah,
things
blah.
I hate about you.
Yeah, totally.
Got it.
So Mantua was a, quote, territory long contested and the last slice of the Veneto region to fall to his control. So he's literally at the precipice of like the peak of his life and career, about to take control of the very last piece of territory in this region that he could possibly want. But
I'm like,
Got it.
and
But Congrande's triumphant procession got waylaid due to illness. It was believed at the time that the leader had, quote, become ill after drinking from a polluted spring a few days before.
oh,
I
that's
think
never
Sebastian poisoned him.
good.
Maybe
He's
the
gonna shit
horse was
himself
fed
to
up.
death.
And then the unthinkable. The man broadly considered to be the most powerful man in Verona's history at the very height of his power, took to his bed and died.
Bye-bye.
You drink poopy water, you pay the price.
That's very true.
It didn't take long, though, for alternate theories for his illness to spring up, including that Congrande might have been poisoned by a rival.
Poison, you say?
But if so, which one?
Which poison?
And how?
And when? And
Why? What poison?
And which? And whether?
And wherefore?
We're white.
Congrande della Scala, despite being beloved by his own people and considered to be a brave and fair ruler, for those on the right side of his sword, that is. I had to
Whoa.
fluff this so much because there's really not much information.
What about the left side?
Had many, many enemies.
Well, yeah.
Congrande
Like
was...
bacteria being one of them. Poor bastard.
Bacteria.
He died of an infected toenail after a subpar
God.
pedicure in Jersey City.
That is how you're going to die if you're
It's
not careful.
absolutely
You
how
have
you're
come
gonna
a
die.
long way.
I almost did.
I know. You've come a long way since then. Let's keep that momentum up.
Honestly, if it weren't for
That living
Obamacare, I would
momentum.
be dead from that pedicure. I was not, my toes were like about to fall off, and the only reason I went in was because I had Obamacare. Thank you. Thank God. Okay. So, Congrande was considered jovial and eloquent and known to be fond of discourse and debate for its own sake. Still, he could have a furious temper when provoked or frustrated, and his argumentativeness and explosive temper could have rubbed someone the wrong way.
It's rubbing me the wrong way 1,000 years later.
Currently.
Or maybe a secret rival seeking to rise up the ranks and replace the larger-than-life Congrande. His moniker literally means big dog.
Oh, God.
Kind of a play on the fact that his uncle was Mastino, the Mastiff. So then
Got
he
it, got
was
it.
big dog.
Gotcha.
Since Congrande didn't have any legitimate heirs, anyone could have aspired to succeed him, even his ambitious nephew, Mastino Due.
Ooh.
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
I hope that's what it actually sounds like in Italy. The Nikes. Just do it. And just do it.
And just to do it. It's like 2 swooshes.
Oh my God. We're so fucking dumb.
So
Holy
dumb.
shit. The dumbest stuff always hits me the hardest in the funnies. That's jokes.
That's
Just do it.
And just to do it. Okay. The fingers. You gotta have the fingers.
Just do it.
I got the Rona.
The second I visit Italy, which is on my list, I'm just gonna start doing that around the piazza, just to do it.
Take the picture. Just do it. Okay.
People are gonna be like, this white bitch.
We're gonna
Get
get
the fuck
so
out
many emails about doing a bad Italian accent. I'm sorry. We do a bad British accent as well.
Oh God!
Okay, we have
Every
one
accent,
pure
is-
accent.
that we do is bad.
Okay.
All so bad.
Except for Minnesota.
No, the
or-
accent's bad.
Just as likely, a conquered foe could have infiltrated Congrande's retinue and directed an assassination. Assassination.
Assassination.
He'd conquered basically all of northeastern Italy at this point, and despite being relatively magnanimous with defeated enemies, even befriending some of them once they were in his captivity, although they probably didn't have a whole lot of choice in that matter.
Best friends,
asshole.
necklaces,
Yeah, exactly.
through the bars.
Instead of
braided you.
handcuffs.
I braided you an anklet.
I braided you this anklet that attaches to this
to your bars.
metal ball and chain.
It's like the man in the iron mask situation. He's like, I beaded you this anklet.
I forged this mask just
There's
for
a
you.
sheet mask under your iron mask.
Oh. My God.
So he still was like fucking conquering people. It's still war. So he definitely had done some like scorched earth shit along the way.
Sure.
People were pissed.
Yeah.
So it could have been the disgruntled Paduans, Trevisans, the Mantuans, the Bolognese Guelphs. The list goes
Penne
on.
bolognese.
You said bolognese, and I was like, oh my God, I
Yum.
am hungry.
Yeah.
Between that and tacos con grande,
Yeah.
we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's go.
He'd also recently, quote, kept a lavish and ostentatious court in Milan with a retinue of knights numbering over 1,000, ostensibly to impress the Holy Roman Emperor, but he probably instead just, like, made everybody else jealous around him.
He's
and
a fucking
pissed
douche.
more people off.
He is a douche canoe.
I might love him.
He's exactly of his time.
I just want to go down in history as having been that over the top.
You will, don't worry.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah. It reminds me of, like, Prince Ali, fabulously Ali Ababa.
Oh, yeah.
Just
That
over the
whole
top.
parade.
Yeah. So we are lucky then that Congrande's body was so well preserved after his death. The corpse was taken out of Treviso at nightfall and drawn on a, is it bier? What do you call,
That's a good
like a cot that you carry?
Let's go with beer.
can of beer.
Drawn on something. To
Drawn on a
Verona.
cot that you carry to Verona.
To
Got it.
Verona, where it was escorted by the nobles into the city, preceded by 12 knights, one of whom wore Congrande's armor and carried his unsheathed sword.
Get
Ew.
it. Daddy.
Kinky.
Daddy's here. And Daddy's unsheathed.
Eventually, the body was entombed in a massive marble open sepulchre above the door of the
Supple.
church of Santa Maria Antiqua. So, like, if there's a photo on the drive, if that doesn't make sense, an open sepulchre.
A
Okay.
Do you see-
festering sepulcher.
Do you see
An oozing
Congrande's tomb?
sepulcher. Sure.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
like above a church door. There's like an archway with like a indented like
An alcove.
alcove.
Sure.
So
sure.
in that marble man statue
Mhm.
is his corpse.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Also, do you see the black and white body
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
pictures? Zoom in on his face.
Oh,
Look at his smiling face in the
It's
marble
so-
statue.
the face.
Oh, the statue's
marble
face.
and then the actual face
Yeah.
are
The marble face is like a smiley face emoji. It's like
like a
cartoonish
chubby,
smile.
happy. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the far right of the corpse is like a cartoonish frown.
The
It's
frown
a
is
gape.
melting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been dead for a minute.
I
My
just couldn't get
God.
over that little smiling marble death mask. So a large statue of Congrande on horseback was also part of the monument originally, but then that equestrian statue was later moved to a museum. In 2004, 675 years after his death, his body was exhumed by archaeologists. Thanks to the conditions of this sealed marble tomb, Congrande's remains were naturally mummified and incredibly well preserved.
Uh-huh.
The team then conducted CT scans and x-rays.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It all circles
It
back.
all ties in. Which, quote, revealed that the internal structure was intact if desiccated.
Oh.
So he still had a lot of organs and shit. They're just a little dried out.
Yeah. They're a mess, but they're
A little
there.
dusty. Just blow them off. Like an old what's it called? N64.
Yes, the cartridge.
Yeah. Furthermore, quote, the team found evidence of osteoarthritis and tuberculosis, and in the colon and rectum,
No.
traces of fecal matter.
Still?
Pooh.
675-year-old poop.
This is why I need to
Cool.
be cremated, because I know my poop will last
We'll
eons.
tell all.
It will
Eons.
mummify.
No need to write a book.
No. Just dig her up. So I'm
They're
going
like-
to get ahead of that.
This bitch hadn't had a solid shit in decades.
Century. Millennia.
Millennia.
So from these, they were able to they were able to test the poison hypothesis for Congrande's death. So did he simply succumb to bad water, or was he murdered?
And what's the answer to the
I'm hoping for
question?
murder.
I'm pooping for murder.
Oh, I'm just shitting my pants with excitement.
Shitting my tomb.
Oh, God.
I'm shitting my marble
Sepulcher.
sepulcher. I'm shitting my sepulcher. I'm so excited I could just shit my sepulcher.
I just shit my sepulcher.
After 7 centuries, the mystery was finally solved thanks in part to forensic radiology.
Oh, thank God.
In the trace fecal matter, they found remnants of chamomile and black mulberry, both perfectly safe plants still used today for tea.
The tea.
Chamomile tea, still a thing. But they also found traces of digitalis purpurea.
Uh-oh. Fingers? Digits?
AKA foxglove.
Foxglove.
A
That's a
beautiful
poisonous
but
plant,
deadly
right?
flower. Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful, though.
There are pictures on the drive of foxglove.
Yes.
Its effects were definitely well known in Congrande's time, so it wasn't like they didn't know it was poisonous. It wasn't like,
This was on purpose.
I don't know, mercury or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it was fucking poisonous. Digitalis, the dried leaves of foxglove, can be used.
Isn't digitalis also like a boner medicine?
Okay. Digitalis, the dried leaves of foxglove, can be used in very small amounts medicinally, namely to strengthen contractions of the heart muscle, but probably also in boner pills, I would
There's
guess.
literally a boner pill called digitalis.
Well,
I'm Googling this.
Gotta
Digitalis boner.
pill.
digitalis boner. Anything?
I'm going to take out the boner. I think it threw it off.
Image search.
Digitalis medication.
Maybe it's not.
It does something about muscle contractions.
Maybe it's not the name of the brand, but that it's mentioned in boner pill commercials. But I know I've heard digitalis and boner pills before.
Names of boner pill.
Kenyon, you can continue on
continue.
while she
You
does this
update us.
very important work.
Yeah. So,
Cialis?
Maybe that's
Cialis.
what I'm thinking of. But there's some.
well, it can be used medicinally.
Okay.
Maybe for boners. We don't know. Jury's still out. But large doses can be fatal.
Mm-hmm.
This is called, I don't know, digoxin toxicity.
Boner
And
death disease.
The symptoms are, quote, typically vague, erections that last longer than 4 hours. No, they may include vomiting, loss of appetite, confusion, blurred vision, changes in color perception. Which I thought was interesting.
That would be an odd one.
And decreased energy. So these are very similar to contemporary accounts of Congrande's final hours, which led archaeologists to conclude in their report, quote, the most likely hypothesis on the causes of death is that of a deliberate administration of a lethal amount of digitalis.
Poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
He was murdered.
It is now believed that shortly before his death, Congrande was given a decoction of chamomile, a natural sedative and antispasmodic. So, like,
Antispasmodic.
I like
love
that.
that word.
yeah. So, like, maybe he did drink some shitty well water and, like, wasn't feeling great.
But it
and
wasn't
then-
enough to kill him.
And
But
then
then
they were,
someone was like, here's some chamomile
here,
tea.
drink this.
You'll feel
Yeah.
better.
Mm-hmm. Black mulberry and poison. Adding to the intrigue of the now confirmed poisoning is the fact that Congrande's physician was hanged by his successor not long after the big dog's murder.
That's telling.
Why?
So did Mastino Due
Just to do it? Did he just do it?
did he just do it? And
He
did he
wanted
just
to do him in.
do him in?
Do away with him.
Do it.
Away with him. And did he discover the doctor's role in murdering his beloved uncle, or was he tying up loose ends
Oh.
after achieving his own
Like a
bloody usurpation of power?
I'm gonna go with that. Okay.
We may never know.
We know.
And that
We know
is-
he do it.
He did it.
He did it.
just did it. And that is my case.
Wow. You did it.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh my God. Well, grazie. Molto bene.
You need some anti-spasmodiums.
Digitalis.
Okay, let's
When
hear.
you're ready. So I honestly did not think that the topic of forensic radiology would like allow me to avoid unsolved Jane Doe cases, prenatal injury cases. Like these are the really sad
There were really dark options.
things that were popping up for me, and I couldn't do it. But alas, I found a case that didn't kill anyone, except like maybe a wealthy ego or two. So we win. So, as Special Agent Meredith Savona of the FBI's Art Crimes Unit said in an interview with CNBC, quote, "Art and jewelry are the last sort of bastions of unregulated business. If you're a collector, if you're in this art world, it is truly buyer beware."
Yeah.
So given that the sale of art is so unregulated, it is important for collectors to purchase through credible galleries that give the utmost scrutiny to each new piece in their possession. One such gallery was the acclaimed Knoedler Gallery in New York City.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
This gallery was founded in 1846 and became a hub for the art-loving elite dealing original works primarily of British and Russian origin. Among their clientele were the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, our buddies Andrew Mellon and Henry Clay Flick of the Johnstown Flood.
Oh, those guys.
Those guys. As well as, like, the Met bought pieces through this gallery.
Oh, shit.
So, like, they were trusted to manage the secret sales by the Soviet government of works from the Russian Imperial collection in the 20s and 30s.
Holy shit. And
So
they had
very-
a lot of shit.
Very legitimate.
Fabergé.
And the gallery stayed in the family. It passed from its original founder upon his death to his nephew and then to a grandson before it was sold to collector Armand Hammer. I think I use his toothpaste.
I think I have a massive crush on him, Army Hammer.
No.
You don't. He's terrible now.
Shit
He
just
is?
came out like last week.
What
You gotta
happened?
Scrub it.
He's
A lot
like,
of not consensual, creepy, sexual
A lot of-
cannibalism stuff.
Cannibalism?
yeah, it's he.
Which the fantasy is fine, but the consent is lacking.
Yeah, there was some
Correct.
serious consent issues with like. I don't even want to say like.
Lucy, you can go ahead and check out of the rest of my segment while you just Google
It's
it.
a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, it's a lot. You have work to do.
Yeah.
So he purchased this in 1971 for a mere $2.5 million, which like it was a lot of the 70s. So when Glafira Rosales came into a massive collection in 1995, it was a perfect fit to approach the Knoedler to sell the works. She approached the gallery with a painting that she claimed to be the work of abstract expressionist Mark Rothko,
Oh.
and that this painting was just a sneak peek of the collection she was representing. The collection itself belonged to a mysterious collector in Mexico who would only be referred to as Mr. X.
Okay.
And yeah, this is some bit like
I already have questions.
good, as well you should. Clearly you needed to work for this gallery. And that Mr. X was looking to sell off this collection with the help of Rosales. The collection contained works by Rothko, Robert Motherwell, Willem de Kooning, and Jackson Pollock, our fave.
Yeah.
A treasure trove of modern expressionist works that got Knoedler's mouth watering. So these works had gone for tens of millions of dollars in recent years, and the well had seemingly run dry on original modern expressionist pieces. So Knoedler's gallery was like, hell yes.
Yeah, there's a huge market for it.
Yeah,
and
we won't see it.
Low supply.
So the deal went off without a hitch, and before long, the pieces in Mr. X's collection were selling at astronomical prices. One of the Pollocks for $17 million for one piece, a Rothko for $8.3 million, and over the course of about 15 years, the pieces sold steadily, totaling over $80 million in sales. But over that 15 years, technology also advanced, and the ability to sniff out a fake got more precise and scientific.
Oh, gosh.
One of those developing sciences in the field was, you guessed it, forensic radiology, specifically, obviously, in its use of imaging. So this is from the Balboa Art Conservation Center. Quote, X-radiography, the same technique used to look at broken bones in the human body, is also used to see inside of paintings. X-radiography
Dogs
uses...
at playing poker.
Check his butthole for centuries-old compacted shit. That's what killed him.
You guys, I can't focus on this while we're talking about dogs playing poker.
It's a lot.
So it's
I
a
haven't
lot.
even gotten to the bottom of
warned
all
you.
of it yet. And I used to have a crush on him as well.
I'm indifferent to this human man. And
Also,
now
like, I feel like men who look like that
are
can't
always
be
are
trusted.
monsters.
always bad.
Yeah, you really can't. You can't trust blonde men.
You can't trust a blonde man.
We've
Jesus.
talked about this
And
ad
he was my
nauseum.
one blonde man that I allowed on the celeb crush list.
You let him into your heart.
And
And
you
now look what
learn.
he's done.
I know.
Just don't do it. Okay, grazie.
Never
Grazie,
trust a
prego.
blonde man.
Never trust a man, a bond. Okay.
Man, a blonde.
X-radiology uses energy found beyond ultraviolet light in the electromagnetic spectrum and can penetrate deeper into the layers of an object. X-radiographic detectors record the differences in densities in a painting. So dense areas appear white on an X-ray because the denser materials contained in an object impede the penetration of rays. And essentially,
The bones.
there you go. So that does kind of answer that question. Essentially, X-radiography is a record of the varying densities in the painting. Thick wood appears whiter than surrounding areas because it is physically denser, while lead white paint appears whiter because it is chemically denser than other paints. So with X-rays, conservators can see paint losses, tears, or changes made to the painted composition. This non-invasive technique can also help with looking at canvas weave and the construction of wooden panels. All of this examination helps us to understand the painting's construction, material history, and its condition,
Okay.
as well as
interesting.
whether or not it is legitimate. So upon inspection of one of the Pollocks, the signature itself became the downfall. The imaging revealed that the signature was forged because it was traced like with a needle, and they could see like the layers of the paint in the image. Further microscopic analysis uncovered the presence of red 170 in the painting, which is a newer pigment and was barely available until long after Pollock's death.
Interesting.
Cool.
I know, isn't this kind of cool?
The needle signature
The needle
is
thing
really
is cool.
cool.
When Bill and I were in Amsterdam, we went to the Rijksmuseum, and they had kind of like petitioned off a specific area in a huge room in the museum because they were working on an analysis of a painting that had been already deemed legitimate, but they were like analyzing the painting and digitizing it before like cleaning it up. And it was like floored. It's an entire wall. I mean, this painting was massive, and there are all these, it's like they're in a glass, like airtight, regulated chamber with this huge painting, and they're on a crane doing these image scans, and you could like watch it coming into the computer and watching them analyze each piece.
That's
so that-
fucking cool.
so they can prepare to like refurbish this giant work. It was so cool. It was so fucking cool. Anyway, so it was kind of neat to then do this case and be like, oh, that's actually a piece of the technology that we saw them using at the museum in Amsterdam. That was super neat.
That's really neat that they just
Had that be
had
open.
that as essentially a display.
As
It was
a
awesome. I
exhibit,
mean, you
yeah.
couldn't get anywhere near it. Like literally they were in a chamber, like a glass chamber. And
Yeah,
then
still.
I don't know if any of the actual like refurbishment of the piece was done out in the open, I think that would be a lot of pressure. But the analyzing process.
I wouldn't want to do my work like behind a glass
The lady
wall.
who redid the Jesus,
Tapping on the...
all fucked up.
I was just thinking about that horrible baby Jesus.
Oh,
Yes.
looks
Oh,
like
so
a
bad.
Furby. Oh, no.
good. I
It was
love
so
those.
bad. So once these discoveries were made, the galleries call in the big guns. Like if a gallery suspects that something is fraudulent, they are trying to be on it as soon as possible. So one of these superheroes is Orion Analytical. This is a company that is really just one person, this forgery expert named Jamie Martin. And he does micro niche materials analysis and consulting in the art world. So Jamie's resume is legit, having examined and either certified or discredited everything from, quote, Egyptian artifacts to rare bottles of wine.
Oh.
So if you suspect that $300 bottle is actually $2 Chuck, Jamie is your guy.
Plus, you probably can't afford him.
Yeah. Don't call him about our wine. Our wine's legit. So Jamie relies on multiple tools and technologies to spot a fake because, in his words, quote, we're analyzing samples so small they're invisible to the naked eye. So microscopy and radiology are key to the imaging and evidence collection in his work. When analyzing potential forgeries, he can also determine if the work was painted over an existing painting or an alteration of an existing work, if the materials are consistent with the timeline of the work, the signature authenticity, all dead giveaways that are not always easy to find. And in terms of like the layering or augmenting an existing painting, that's where that X-ray imaging comes in super handy.
Isn't that in Thomas Crown Affair?
I think so.
Where they're
Yeah.
like
Saving Private
studying
Ryan,
they're,
being
like,
John
studying-
Malkovich,
Yeah.
Dead
They're
Poets
studying
Society.
a painting and they're like, there's another canvas
Beautiful
under
Mind.
here. And they're like, oh, well, Monet frequently reused his canvases. And then it's dogs playing poker.
Uh-huh.
Check his butthole. Anyway, it's a good thing that he figured out that the
Your
Pollock
neighbors.
was a fake because
Dick fell off.
his dick fell off.
Check his butthole.
Check his butthole. Anyway, because it sure as shit was not the only fake of this collection. So this is from Wired magazine. Quote, as it turns out, that fake Pollock was one of nearly 40 forgeries created by a Chinese artist in Queens, New York, and sold or consigned by Manhattan's prestigious Knoedler Gallery between 1994 and 2008.
Oh, shit. They're fucked.
Damn.
Yeah. Martin examined 16 of the paintings himself, discovering flaws like anachronistic materials and marks from an electric sander. The scam, totaling some $80 million, is the biggest in American history.
Wow.
Earlier this year, and this was written in 2016, Martin's detective work landed him in court as an expert witness in a $25 million case over a fake Mark Rothko. So this dude gets regular consulting gigs for the feds and teaches classes in infrared spectrometry for trace analysis at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia.
We can't even say that sentence.
Nope.
Let alone take that class.
So he's amazing. So now that we know this too good to be true collection death was, and Mr. X is no longer a mystery. So let's hear more about this expert art mimic and who may or may not be the picture of like an $80 million criminal mastermind that you have in your head. So the artist himself was 73-year-old Pei-Shen, a Chinese national living in Queens, New York, and the talented artist had been found and recruited by dealer Jose Carlos Bergantinos Diaz, I'm sorry, who had also
doing
arranged
great.
for, I am crushing it, Glafira Rosales, his girlfriend, to pose as the saleswoman in the deal. So Jose found Pei-Shen selling his own original artworks on sidewalks in Lower Manhattan.
Oh
like he
my
would set up
God.
and paint.
Whoa.
And Jose was like,
You're pretty good.
you want to make more than the change in this bucket? And
Awesome.
Pei-Shen is like, well, yeah, I'm like an old, impoverished man painting on the streets of Manhattan. Absolutely, I do. So in my opinion, this poor guy was exploited for his talent. He did not reap the rewards of this scam. Like, he got paid, but he's not making $80 million.
Yeah.
Like, Jose is making that money. So this is from CNBC. Quote, in 2013, Rosales, that's the girlfriend who sold the collection, pleaded guilty to fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion and was ordered to forfeit $81 million. To date, she is the only person convicted in the case.
What?
What happened to Jose?
Oh, I'll tell you. So Rosales, who cooperated with authorities...
Happened to Jose?
Jose! Well, oh, no way, Jose, I'll tell you.
Because he just did.
Hey, he just do it. So she cooperated with authorities and was sentenced to 3 months in jail. And she, it was like a time served situation. She said she was coerced into the scam by her abusive boyfriend, Jose. He is currently in Spain, having managed to avoid extradition to the U.S. on a 12-count federal indictment alleging fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and false statements.
Wow.
Also indicted were Jose's brother Jesus, who is also believed to be in Spain, and Qian, who fled to China. The Knoedler Gallery and its director, Anne Friedman, who said they were duped along with everyone else, have not been charged with wrongdoing, but facing multiple customer lawsuits, the gallery closed in 2011 after 165 years in business.
That's tough.
So the scam completely took them down because of civil suits.
Yeah, their reputation is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That really
so
sucks.
sad. So as of 2014, Pei-Shen Qian had been found living in China and indicted on charges of wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and lying to the FBI. However, China doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S., so as long as he remains there, he can't be arrested for his role in this scam. Mm-hmm. Professor Julian Q, an expert on China and international law at Hofstra University, said in an interview, quote, "There's almost no chance that China would turn their own citizen over. They generally don't have a policy of cooperating and don't have any reason to turn anyone over because the U.S. won't turn anyone over to China."
Yeah.
They also are super not against forgery
or fraud.
Sure. I mean,
they're like, yeah, well, so what's wrong?
at the end of the day, no matter what, I think that this guy should just be left alone, let him live out the rest of his life. I hope wherever he is, if he's still alive, that he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Because it really seems to me like he got exploited in this scam.
I think so.
Yeah.
As an elderly immigrant,
Yeah.
he probably either didn't really know what was happening or how much those people were making off of his work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him. He's a talented artist.
Right. And Spain
You
does
can get
have,
away with it.
Yeah. I think for all we know, Pei-Shen is fine. Pei-Shen. He's off doing his thing. Or at least fine being he's not going to be arrested for this. Mm-hmm. But the brothers, Jose and Jesus, who went to Spain, we do have extradition with Spain.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they've consistently been able to evade it. I don't know what resources are being dumped into that at this point. The last update was from 2016, 2017. I haven't seen anything else. So I don't... I think given everything else that's been going on in America for the last 4 years, that might be a little low on the priorities list.
Spain's like, he's fine here.
You're on your own. Get coronavirus under control, and then you can come
Then we'll
talk to
talk.
me about this $80 million scam.
Interesting.
And I mean, as far as the U.S. is concerned, they put someone in jail. They fined Rosales the $81 million. It's kind of case closed. I don't see the U.S. putting more resources into finding these individuals that have left the
At
country.
the end of the day, all Pei-Shen did was paint.
All he did was paint.
It was the other two who perpetrated the fraud.
Yeah.
He was practicing his technique.
That was his passion, probably.
Granted, he knew what he was being asked to paint.
Shh. How do we know?
It was
What he
in
knew.
articles, but also
I still, whatever.
I'm still
I like
team.
Pei-Shen.
I'm team Pei-Shen. I think that he did the best. He did what he had to do with the opportunity he was given.
He was a patient man.
He was a patient man. And it's got to be
Patient zero.
very affirming.
Patient zero.
It's got to be very affirming of your skills to go 15 years scamming millions of dollars and
Experts.
hawking fake Pollux. Get after it.
There's
So there you go.
There's a mystery writer that I love. Who wrote Patricia Highsmith? She wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley, and then she follows Tom Ripley, that character, through other stories.
Sure.
And they're really good and really well written. And one of them is all about basically exactly this story. Like they had an art gallery, they found an artist who was pretending to be a real artist who was like off the grid in Mexico and producing all these artworks, and then it was found out to all have been
A total scam.
A ruse.
A ruse.
It's a good
I
book.
kind of love it.
Well done.
That's my
Yeah.
case.
Nice
I just wanted to
job.
find something different that we use that imaging for, and I think I did.
You nailed
You
it.
did.
Thank you.
Well, very special thanks this week to our fan picker Dante Alighieri and also
You've
Elena.
peaked.
You've peaked.
Dante's peaked.
And also Elena Lathram.
Yes.
Thank you
for
so
this
much.
topic. I'm glad we powered through and really got to know how bizarre these techniques are.
Seen my own death, and now I'm going to drink myself
I've
to
seen
death.
my own death.
I put that image on the drive for you guys to see.
I
by the
see
way.
it. The ring is so bulbous.
I
Very
know.
odd. I want to see what the ring actually looked like, because that's not showing me the deets.
I actually looked for a picture of the ring.
I
but-
believe it.
Also, can you see Con Grande in the MRI, the lie-down MRI machine?
Yeah. All
In
bubble
like
wrapped.
saran wrap.
Oh. Oh, honey.
Sir. We need you to
Anywho.
not move, Con Grande. Yep, you got to stay very still.
Very still.
Please don't move.
Hug your teddy. It'll be over in a minute.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll talk to you guys next week.
See you next week.
Oh, bye-bye.